All right, everybody, here we go. Welcome back to Stocks by the Numbers, and I just wanted to do a very quick update on Super Micro Computer Incorporated, symbol SMCI, listed here on the NASDAQ. Stock took a hit today, down to 26.85, down $1.67, roughly 6% on the day, making a storm right now after hours, up over 2.5 points, bouncing back 9.5%, sitting at 29.40. Stock ran up, potentially bull flagging actually on my screen, spiked up above these trend lines. It's hanging out around this moving average now. On the news that Supermicro has scheduled a conference call and the webcast for second quarter fiscal 25 business update. This came out obviously after the market closed. Today announced it will provide a second quarter fiscal 2025 business update on Tuesday, February 11th at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that is next Tuesday, February 11th. And these numbers are obviously coming out roughly 2 weeks before their final compliance deadline with the exchange, which is February 25th. February 11th for earnings, basically, business update, I guess. And deadline February 25th. 2 dates for you to keep in mind. But again, because we were just sitting and waiting, this is technically good news, right? So we're going to have a confirmed date now for this earnings release, or business update, I guess, if they're, what they call it. And it is happening before that compliance deadline. So that's why I think everyone's reacting pretty positively to this. Okay, this goes in Securities Act about Supermicro. Okay, so yeah, that's basically the big news and the reason why SMCI now running and climbing after hours. And yeah, let's check the comments on Yahoo. Here we go. The roulette wheel is officially spinning. All right, Brian. And $100 incoming with 100 million shares to be covered. Wait and watch. Yep, that is very true. We were speaking about the growing short interest on SMCI just because so many traders and investors were simply counting them out and potentially jumping on board before we jumping on board the short side, or the put side, excuse me, before it was technically confirmed that they were on the down and out, right? And you can see here a quick look on FinViz. Short float right now on SMCI sitting at about 15.5%. So we could potentially start to see a squeeze coming. So it begins laughing. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth. Jack Nicholson, you want me on that wall. So people obviously pretty pumped here. Again, 9% move. Let's check stock charts real quick. Let's see where we can go. Actually, let's recheck our trend lines. Okay, so we were down here. See how we broke this trend line of about 27.98 I mentioned last time, and we came down. We basically touched this other trend line, the blue trend line that I told you to keep an eye on. Stock dropped today to 25.71, and we mentioned a potential pullback here to around the fib, meeting up with this blue trend line as well of about 25.5 before we might see a bounce. But technically the company was, again, the date was today, but we have it confirmed for next Tuesday. Oh no, excuse me, the date was tomorrow. Oops, sorry. So that's confirmed for next Tuesday again, but you can see the stock popped and it's sitting right here. So we're technically back now above this support trend line that we were holding for several days before we broke to immediately come back above it. And now, again, conservatively, a retracement back to this 20-day. I mean, we're talking about like 31 1/3, really shouldn't be an issue. And now that we have a date, we might slowly be on the up and up, and maybe we can run back to around this fib or this trend line of just about maybe 35, very high 34s, maybe over the next week or so, going into this quote-unquote business update. And obviously, depending on what the company reports, if they come out and, they're still seeing big demand and we're signing deals and revenue strong, then who knows? The stock might spike up into the 40s. Right now, the Bollinger Band was tightening and we began to break down, and now we're going to spike back up. So we're going to have some volatile trumpeting taking place on the Bollinger Bands if that's what you watch. So I wouldn't necessarily go off those right now, but 31.30, what did we say? Yeah, back to the moving average was about 31 1/3. We can see the mid Bollinger Band sitting here at 31.30, and then we have our 50-day moving average at just about 33.5. So that's why the slow run-ups back into the low 30s to the mid 30s, potentially even getting above that 35 mark going into this business update next Tuesday, that could be very possible. That could be, again, in my opinion, I think it should really go back to where it was back here in August when that Hindenburg report came out. We did an update on that. Apparently, they're the ones that might have had some shady crap going on. So that's why with something like that now coming to light, I feel like all this is kind of a wash. And now we have a date for the earnings. And hopefully, again, they maintain compliance by the 25th. So, I mean, the stock really should be up here at 50 and change, in my opinion. I still stand by my analysis of $200+ a share long term. RSI down here on the daily, 36 1/3. Now we're obviously spiking back up. MACD was trending down here after the cross to the downside. Now we're going to probably immediately start to curl and head back to the upside. Let's check the weekly real quick. Weekly RSI down here at 39 1/3. 200-day moving average was coming up nicely since early 2023. And you can see it's just below 25. It's at 24.86, right? And we were looking for what? 25. Yeah, no, I don't know. I mean, in my opinion, it really shouldn't test that moving average. But you see, it was on the down and down, right? That's why we spoke about how it can potentially keep selling off, retest the support, and then have a bounce. And as we're coming down and we got about 2 points away from potentially testing this 200-day, that's where we have our news coming out now, and now the stock is potentially spiking back to the upside. So again, we looked at the next trend line of just about 35, and you can see the mid-Bollinger Band on the weekly as well, about 34.5. So in my opinion, stock really should retrace back to about that 34, 35 level. We were heading down to potentially about 25, sub 25, and now we're reversing direction. MACD technically going to stay on the up and up. Let's check the pivot points real quick. Pivot point, yeah, from last year, we're sitting right about 40. Again, in my opinion, stock really should be 40, 50. See, even last year, you have a pivot point here, looks like about 51.5, 52, 40 to 52, right? That's why I'm saying stock really should be back in this range. See where it spiked back up to this range and bounced and found that support before it, again, this was the NASDAQ news, I believe, and this was the Hindenburg. So that's why it really should go back to where it was. So, I mean, I don't think it's going to happen immediately, but who knows? Who knows? We have seen crazier things. We know that. Daily pivot point up here, 35.61. So it seems like we have a lot of action there at around the 34, 35 level. So that might just be where it wants to get back to going into this business update. And if we do happen to get a good report, I do realistically think we can spike up to that 50+ level, and we might start running up to these this moving average, this pivot point here, 57, or what is that, 60.5. Okay, so that's about 60. But again, that's where the stock was right about the time that Hindenburg report came out. So I've been saying it really should, in theory, go back up to that level, but only time will tell. As news hits, of course, we'll update. And we technically don't even see this here. Again, that was a Yahoo article here. But really good news for SMCI, and the stock still holding about 9% and does look like it's bull flagging here, in my opinion. So we might hang out here. It looks like it's actually right near the apex. Just, yeah, so you can see if we technically go out to the apex, we're hanging on maybe for what, about another 10 minutes? So within the next 5-10 minutes, you could potentially start to see a break up and out. And, it's sitting here in the 29s and spiked up to, like 29.90. So it might want to break up and out and get to that 30+ psychological level. That's why I'm saying that 33.5, high 34s, low 35s, I really do think that is feasible. And that'll bring us right up here going into that quote-unquote business update. But that's the news on SMCI. Congratulations to any shareholders or anyone who jumped in and bought calls maybe before the close. Obviously, hats off to you. That's very good news. But that's pretty much it. I'll end it there. Once again, Stocks by the Numbers. I want to thank you for stopping by. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, drop it down in the comment section. I'm usually pretty quick to reply. Thumbs up algorithm helps me get more eyes on the channel. And of course, subscribe to the channel. That is our handshake agreement. That is how you help me help you. But more importantly, moving forward, like I always say, I understand that markets are rocky, they're volatile, and they are very uncertain. So I want to wish all of you success. I hope everyone makes a couple of dollars. Thank you for your time. Have a good day.